Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. I'm sitting here in the conference room on Friday about, let's see, it's 10 minutes to 1, trying to give you a little bit of an update what's going on in the building. First, let me say happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a healthy, safe Thanksgiving. Hope everything went well. I'd also like to mention, I don't want to mention names because I don't have permission, but a woman on the 8th floor bought all the employees a beautiful meal yesterday. It was just unbelievable. Thank you. That's very, very thoughtful. She went to Whole Foods, bought everybody food, different platters, stuff like that, and several of the employees stopped me to say how generous and nice it was. I think it's very nice. So on behalf of the employees, thank you very, very much. It was very, very thoughtful. Um, I want to talk about some certain things that are going on in the building that people may be interested in. Channel 998 is no longer in service. It just doesn't work. It was outdated. Some people couldn't get volume. Some people couldn't get it at all. When the system was installed years ago, this is before the high definition technology took over. And when the high definition was completely implemented in this building, it completely destroyed the technology of 998. Therefore, I will try to give more frequent updates via video. I'm very happy to say that the last 2 or 3 videos that I did, approximately 500 views on each one. So quite a few people in the building are tuning into YouTube to see what's going on here. And the first subject I want to talk about today, which is ongoing right now, and I'm sure a lot of you are aware of it, we're implementing a new system in the garage. We're going to be putting stickers on the cars, which is similar to an Easy Pass system. You won't need your remotes anymore. I've discussed this in 2 previous videos. We've written letters regarding this. We've done this at board meetings. It's in the minutes, and it's pretty surprising how many people were unaware of it. But it's starting to work out pretty good. We've done about half the building now, or let's say we've gotten up to about the 14th, 15th floor. I'm really not sure which floor we're on now. We're close to it. And unfortunately, we're getting about half the cars on each floor. A lot of people aren't coming down to switch in. So please, please, please come down when you get a letter and transfer over to this new system. I want to just give you a little bit of a brief story. In 1979, when I moved into this building, one of the nicest assets we had here, and then I'll give you a little bit of history. People that are living here many years get a little bit of a chuckle at this because they'll agree with me, and some of the newer people have to understand. When I moved here in 1979, there were no light, there was no street lights, red, green lights, okay, traffic lights where the Buckingham is. There were no lights up on Lafayette Avenue. You could literally cross Palisade Avenue blindfolded, okay, and you wouldn't get hit by a car. There was no traffic here whatsoever. There was no Kensington. There was no Buckingham. There was no Carlisle. I happen to live in the 05 line. I had a beautifully unobstructed view of the bridge and everything else, and they've done a lot of building since then. But the point I'm trying to bring across, when I moved here, I moved from an apartment building in Forest Hills, which I figured was a pretty safe building, pretty safe neighborhood. But when I moved in here, I felt very, very safe parking in the garage here late at night. So that's one of the emphasis that we put on here, and that's what we want to continue to do. My wife, I always felt safe when my wife came home late at night. And the board, I've been on the board now, I just started my 11th year, and the board has really put a lot of emphasis on finances and put emphasis on security, all right? And this is a tremendous security upgrade. When I moved in here, like I said, I always felt very safe in the garage, but times have changed in the sense that, it's a changing world, okay? And security is a big part of changing. So we've implemented quite a few new cameras in this building over the last 5 or 6 years, which would be shocking to some people to know what we've seen and the problems we've solved in certain areas, okay? And it saved the building a lot of money and a lot of he said, she said, okay? As far as the garage goes now, the new stickers, give you a little bit of history and tell you what's going on. Number one, we're having all the guards put the stickers on your car. The reason we do that, if the sticker's not put on properly and straight, the sticker gets voided, okay? It won't work. So we're having security do that. Every time you enter and leave the garage, it registers what car left the garage, what time you left, what time you entered. Another great security measure. you have to turn in your remote and you get a sticker in return. This is where, right now, and I'm taking a poll with Antonella, who sits at the front desk, who's taking care of this. We're taking a poll of how many people don't have remotes. Right now, it's approximately 3% of the people don't have remotes. Everybody should have a remote that parks in the garage. I could start going into long stories of why you should have a remote, but one of the reasons, I would say in the last 10 years, and I'm not exaggerating, I would say in the last 10 years, the garage door has been hit maybe 50 times, okay? That's about 5 times a year. I'm being pretty nice about that. And this cost the unit owners quite a bit of money and caused us a lot of grief, okay? We've made certain arrangements with the sensor now temporarily because we're changing the system over. It won't be as sensitive as it was in the past, but most of the people that were hitting the garage door, most of them, not all of them, didn't have remote controls. They were trying to beat the door, okay? So when you got a parking space here, it was mandatory that you got a remote control. And the reason I keep saying that, if you have a remote control, like I say, you turn it in now and you get a sticker, okay, at no charge. If you don't have a remote control, there are certain charges that are applied, actually less expensive than it was in the past with the remote controls if you have more than one, okay? So some of the people are complaining that, I don't want to, it's not fair. It is fair, okay? Everybody, including myself and everybody, had a remote control to get into the garage. Some of the other things that it does is, for example, if you have a problem, there's now a button under the window in the garage. You can see that when you pull in, it says reach doorman, okay? We installed the button not only for a reason where, God forbid, your sticker doesn't work, and believe me, there's been remote controls that didn't work, where they were defective remote controls, or their batteries went dead, because they do go dead eventually, okay? And people get stuck there, had nowhere to go. And there's also been situations where visitors get a little discombobulated, okay, and don't realize where the visitor parking is, and they decide to pull into the garage, okay? This won't happen anymore, and plus they'll be able to push a button. When you push the button down there, you'll reach the front and back doorman. They'll be able to speak to you, they'll be able to see you on camera, and they have a button also which will open the garage door for you and be able to communicate with you. So that's a big upgrade. So we don't want anybody to be concerned about the button. Concerned meaning there's still going to be a guard in the booth like there always was, okay? The guard in the booth at this particular time may not be there as much as it used to be, because it's a package, problem we have too. We have, at this particular point right now, we have about 300 packages a day coming in. Today is Black Friday or whatever it's called, okay? Monday, Cyber Monday. And we expect that number to go to maybe 400 to 500 packages next week at some point. And we expect about 500 to 600 packages a day during Christmas. So the guards are helping on the back to get, to expedite the packages for you. It's a huge inconvenience, but it is what it is. You must stop at the stop sign. That's the way this is designed. You must stop at the stop sign anyway, okay? And it'll read your sticker better and give us less problems. To this particular point, to my knowledge, we've given out a couple of hundred cars, and we've had 2 stickers that weren't working properly, which we investigated. It could have been if someone's in front of you and you tailgate right behind them, and don't stop at the stop sign. It's not going to read your sticker properly. Again, this is tremendous security for the building. If somebody's behind you and they enter the garage without a sticker, or if you try to enter the garage at any point without a sticker, an alarm will go off in the front booth and the back door. The alarm will notify the doorman that somebody illegally entered the garage, and they'll be able to go immediately to the camera to see who it was and send security down. So again, great security feature, something that we worked on for several years, figuring out the best way to approach this. And we hope that the people that, understand what we're doing here, okay? This is all for your safety and security. On to another subject for a second. I'm sorry I'm reading notes as I speak to you. The alarm this week. We had some people who were very, very upset. I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm really not sure. The alarm was going off in the building. we had a fire inspection for the last 2 weeks, one day each week. 2 weeks ago, when we had the inspection, there were very brief signals on the alarm. Everything went pretty well. This time we were told we wouldn't even hear alarms. Meanwhile, the alarms are going off for about, I don't know, 4 hours, 4.5 hours. Very annoying, very disturbing. We weren't alerted to the fact that they realized when they got here, it was 5 years since we flushed out the sprinkler systems in the hallways. So they had to flush each system out. In order to do that properly, they had to use the alarm. So we apologize. We weren't aware of this, okay, until the last second. We did send an email to every resident to notify them that please don't be alarmed, that this is, a test, and this is the way we're configuring everything. So if you're not registered with the office via email or text message, I recommend that you do that as soon as possible so you'll get future alerts as far as that goes. There's no longer any smoking permitted in front of the building. The only place you could smoke anywhere in the premises now is at the back door, at the bottom of the staircase on your right where you exit. There's an ashtray down there. If anybody wants to smoke down there, we're going to continue to allow that. But there won't be any more smoking in front of the building. The lobby smells from smoke. It's not fair to visitors that are coming here. It's not fair to handicapped people that get out of their cars. So they're no longer. We have a sign posted now, no smoking. The doorman will notify security if somebody is, and we'll try to enforce this to the best of our ability. The laundry rooms. We just put some new signs up in the laundry rooms. Please keep the laundry machine doors open. Please keep the soap dispenser door open when you finish with it. Some people complain about the laundry machine smell, and you're supposed to keep the doors open, that little soap dish, to air it out after each using. So please try to respect your neighbors. And there's somebody on my floor, for example, that washes the filter off from the dryer in the sink. That's not the way it should be done. It's going to clog up the sink. There was a giant piece of lint in there a couple of days ago, and it really looked terrible, and it's just giving our maintenance men more work. Please take the lint and, of course, throw it into the garbage can that's supplied in each room. Emergency keys. It's urgent, okay? Urgent that you have emergency keys on file in the office. Again, I'm not sure if you know the procedure. There's only 2 people in this building, okay, that have access to these keys. Steve DeMue and Chris Murphy. No other person, no managers, and Sarah, anybody that works there. Nobody has any access to the keys. Only these 2 managers have access. Very, very important for your safety. We've had situations where, forgetting about water leaks and forgetting about some other incidences, we've actually had unit owners where relatives or friends couldn't reach them, and they wanted us to enter the apartment to see if they were okay, and we couldn't get into some of the apartments, and unfortunately had to break the lock. So please make sure there's a key on file at all times. Just want to talk to you about some of the other things that are happening here too financially. Of course, every time I get stopped, everyone's saying, what's going on with the hallways? The hallways are much more complicated than most people. We're not just going to hire somebody and start slapping stuff together in the hallways. We haven't found the right designer yet at this particular point. We've interviewed over half a dozen. We have other people that we'll be speaking with over the next 3 to 4 weeks, so we hope to make some decisions there. But we're talking about substantial money. We're talking about a $5 to $6 million project minimum. We're talking about the pipes, which is going to cost us $1 million or maybe even more, okay, to cover the pipes properly. For example, the 200 building put all new fire doors in next door, which are half the size of the ones we have now. And we're trying to find a way to eliminate that. To replace all the fire doors could cost us as much as $600,000, okay? And that's something that we're trying to avoid. So just bear with us a little longer. We've done this very intelligently, not only picking out the proper designer, but also to have the right amount of money in place here. So I mentioned before, so there's no assessments or any financial problems. Right now, the building has close to $5 million in our reserves, okay, which we're very, very proud of. So we want to make sure once we start this project and complete it that we still have a substantial amount of money for any problems that may be coming up. Now, when I talk about problems that are coming up, there are three potential financial issues coming up. First of all, the HVAC systems on the roof, okay, which heat and cool the hallways, have just about reached their complete potential lifespan, okay? We're going to still baby them. We still believe we have 3-4 years left, but you're talking about $1 million investment. We have, back about 40 years ago, there was an engineer that lived in this building, and he recommended that we put the flashing, that's the metal piece on the edges of all of our terraces, to preserve the terraces, okay? That was the advice of an engineer, and the board, management, etc., approximately 40 years ago, thought it was a great idea. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great idea. Well, the water's gotten underneath the flashing all these years, and some terraces, you know, the cement has eroded, and we do address it as soon as it happens. So at some point down the road, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, we're looking at a potential 6, 7, 800, even up to $1 million to rip all the flashing off the building and re-cement the tips of all our terraces. That's something that's down the road. The HVACs, we're talking about $1 million, as I just mentioned, and there's also another situation where we were told that possibly in the year 2022, this has not been passed yet, that in our garage we have what's called a wet system, sprinkler system. They may institute a system where it's mandatory for all of us, every building, to have a dry system. It's complicated. I'm not going to go through it, but we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars to replace that. That hasn't been made an ordinance yet, and we're hoping that maybe we could be grandfathered in, or hopefully this could be put off for years to come. But that's something we have to keep our eye on. So financially, we have to keep our eye on, not only the hallways, but other financial situations that may come up. To close this out, we're not going to make, I waited to the end on this one, okay? We have a major announcement regarding Steve DeMue. Steve DeMue, as of January 1st, is going to semi-retire. This day was going to come. He's been here he's been here for almost 46 years now. He's done a tremendous job. I mean, again, to the people that have been here as long as I have, are very, very long people. We know what an asset Steve has been. Steve has done things that, if you go to other buildings, and I speak to 200, and I'm not just using 200, but I do speak to them. We speak to 200, and we speak to many, many other buildings. 90% of the buildings I ever spoke to outsource a lot of things. When they have a water leak in a wall and a pipe has to be cut, they call a plumber. Okay, we don't call a plumber. We have Steve, and thank God now we have Chris Murphy. Okay, when there's an electrical problem, we have Steve. We have Chris Murphy. So I don't even know what to say about Steve. He's one of the finest guys. The mold was broken when he came aboard. He did come aboard before the building was even built. It was in the process of being built when he started working here. Started here as a fellow in his 20s, which is just amazing that they put so much faith in somebody at an age like that, but they obviously made the right pick. Steve is going to be semi-retired. Let me explain semi-retired. He's going to work 2 days a week when Chris is not on duty. We'll always have Steve here for those 2 days. We'll also have Steve here for Chris to learn things that Steve is known for 46 years. I don't care how good you are. There's a lot of things, in this building that could, takes 46 years to learn. So Steve, we wish you the best. You're a great guy. You've done a tremendous job. As Steve said, he's going to continue living here. He's given us a commitment to continue for at least another year. And this is a great asset. We also hired 2 new maintenance men recently, which Steve and Chris are very happy about. And we anticipate going forward with no problems. But once again, thank you, Steve. I want to go live here, and I hope the people here appreciate you as much as I do. I'm not going to go into any long thing. Let me just take a look here before we sign off. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I think that's about it. So anyway, Have a happy and healthy holidays that are coming up. Be careful. If there's anything I could do, if there's anything anybody on the board, could do to help you, we're here to help you. We're here to do the best job we can. We're wishing you a safe and happy holiday again. And thank you so much. We just had an election before we turned off about 6 weeks ago. All three board members, including myself, obviously, were reelected. I appreciate that. So we can continue on to serve and volunteer to help the building as much as we can. Thank you so much and good luck. Take care.